Welcome to Good Morning America's team. I'm Tommy Utah, and today we're not here to hype this team up. We're here to tell the truth. Because right now, all the attention is on the draft, who the Cowboys should take, what move they should make, how they fix everything in one weekend. But here's the problem. This roster isn't one move away. And if you really look at what Dallas is putting on the field right now, there are still serious questions that haven't been answered. We're not talking about potential. We're talking about reality. And today we're breaking down why this team still isn't fixed and why the draft might not be the solution everyone thinks it is. Hey everyone, Tommy Utah here. Let's talk about something we all feel. Those high Texas electric bills, they're getting out of hand, aren't they? That's why you need a provider that keeps things simple. Enter BKV Energy, reimagining energy for Texans. BKV offers straightforward, fixed-rate plans, no gimmicks, no hidden fees, just reliable power you can count on. BKV is the official electric company of America's Team Network. We trust them, and so can you. Sign up using our referral link and you'll get a $50 credit straight to your bill. It's that easy. With a 30-day guarantee and Spark rewards, switching is a no-brainer. Get more value for your money. Ready to stop overpaying? Head to the link in our bio right now to get started with BKV Energy. Start saving today. Use our link in the description for your $50 credit. BKV Energy, Texas Energy, reimagined.
It's go time. It's go time. It's go time. We going up like Coach Prime. Like Coach Prime. Like Coach Prime. We going up. It's go time. It's go time.
All right, let's dive into this Cowboys analysis. There's a lot to unpack here. The whole draft narrative versus the real issues on defense.
Yeah, absolutely. The conversation really makes you question if the draft is going to be the silver bullet everyone's hyping it up to be, right?
Exactly. It's like people assume that if they just get a couple of star picks that suddenly fixes everything. But the real problem lies deeper in the defense.
For sure. You know, the lineup isn't just missing a star here and there. There's a fundamental lack of identity.
Yeah, the identity issue stands out. I mean, good defenses are known for their personality. They do their thing day in, day out like a well-oiled machine.
Right.
But with Dallas, it's like nobody's really sure what they're aiming for on that side of the ball.
And that's a critical concern, isn't it? Because if you don't have that clear identity, then every draft pick, every change is just another stab in the dark.
Exactly. It's kind of like trying to patch up a leaky roof with random parts. One minute you think you might have fixed something, and the next minute another leak shows up. The team must figure out a coherent vision.
Right. And speaking of the draft, you really hit on that point about the one piece away mentality. It's almost like there's this over-reliance on the idea that a rookie can come in and turn the tide immediately.
And that's a dangerous assumption. Even a first-round pick is still raw, still learning the ropes. Asking them to shoulder years of deficiencies overnight sets unrealistic expectations.
And honestly, that pressure can be quite detrimental. Imagine putting a rookie in a position where they're expected to anchor an entire defense when things have been broken for years.
Yep, it's almost like expecting a new chef to run an entire restaurant from day one without ever tasting the signature dish before. There's a learning curve involved.
That analogy really nails it. Now, diving into specifics, the linebacker issues, the shaky secondary, and the inconsistent pass rush, it paints a clear picture of a team with structural problems rather than just one or two missing pieces.
Yeah, the linebackers have those question marks, and even though there are flashes on the pass rush, there's no sound, dependable performance week in and week out.
Totally.
The secondary seems to be fighting uphill, too.
But here's something I keep pondering. While the draft might not fix everything immediately, do you think it could set a foundation for gradual improvement?
Well, I get what you're saying, but here's my take. If you keep patching up holes without addressing the overall identity, you're essentially playing the long game of catch-up.
I see your point.
The draft might offer some tools, but it doesn't rewrite the playbook.
Right. It's a bit like adding a new ingredient to a recipe that's already off balance. Even if it helps a little, the dish isn't going to suddenly taste perfect.
Exactly. And it's that kind of overreach where teams might convince themselves that one pick is the cure-all. But in truth, it's a much broader issue.
Absolutely. There's this underlying theme. The Cowboys need to set their defense's identity in stone. Without that, how do you build a system that supports future talent, both rookies and veterans?
Precisely. And it's not just about recruiting talent. It's about creating a defense that's self-sustaining over time. A defense that knows its strengths, adapts to weaknesses, and grows together as a unit every season.
Right. And frankly, the current state of the Cowboys defense just doesn't instill much confidence. Without consistency, it's tough to see how any single draft pick can make up for a lack of overall cohesion.
Absolutely. And you know what gets me? The narrative that the draft is some kind of magic wand. If it doesn't, then we have to start asking, where does the accountability lie?
Yeah, that's the big question. Exactly. It's less about potential and more about the foundation already built by the front office and coaches. They need a strategy, not just guesswork.
Mm-hmm. And there's a risk here, too. If they reach for a player who they think is the answer, they might pass on someone who could have fit into a more comprehensive change. It's
Right.
all
Balance
about
is key.
balance.
Though I might have to challenge that a bit. Don't you think sometimes a high upside pick, even if raw, can ignite a spark that's needed?
I see where you're coming from, but I believe that hope often blinds teams to the severity of their structural issues. The rookie might bring a spark, but without a solid framework, that spark might fizzle out
Well, that's a
quickly.
fair challenge, actually. Right. It's about ensuring the environment supports growth. A rookie can be a catalyst, but then again, he's still just one piece of a much larger puzzle.
Exactly. And it's the puzzle that, once completed well, creates identity, a well-defined defense that can execute week in and week out.
Absolutely. So looking forward, if the Cowboys front office doesn't adjust the narrative and really address these long-standing issues, we're talking about next season being a rough one, aren't we?
Yep, if the draft doesn't hit and if the core issues aren't remedied, next season isn't just about chasing potential. It's going to be a reckoning of accountability.
And that accountability is not just on one guy. It's on the coaching staff, the front office, the entire system that allowed these issues to persist.
Exactly. Every decision, every strategy, every misstep adds up. And honestly, if Dallas keeps going this route, this draft won't just be a moment. They might as well be building a legacy of unmet expectations.
Right on. It's a precarious situation. One miscalculation and the foundation crumbles further, forcing an even more difficult rebuild down the road.
True, true. And sometimes we've seen teams in this position when the gap between potential and performance becomes so wide, it ends up being a long-term struggle rather than a quick fix.
Yep, no doubt about that. What's interesting here is the contrast. Everyone's so hyped about the draft picks, but the real story is the underlying lack of a clear defensive identity.
Yeah, exactly. It's like investing in a flashy new engine for a car that at its core has worn out parts. It might start strong, but soon enough, the issues resurface.
Yeah, that analogy hits home. And it brings us back to accountability. The draft might be the next chapter, but it's the narrative of who's responsible for these systemic issues that will ultimately dominate the conversation come next season.
Right, and it's a reminder that building a winning team isn't just about quick fixes or magical picks. It's about long-term strategy, consistency, and most importantly, establishing an identity that everyone, players and fans alike, can rally behind.
Absolutely. So if we look at the bigger picture, would you say the Cowboys need to overhaul their entire defensive strategy, or can incremental changes eventually lead to that cohesive identity?
I'd say it requires a fundamental shift. Incremental tweaks might help in the short term, but to truly get this defense to operate like a single unit, they need a comprehensive plan. It's like cleaning the house room by room when you really need to renovate the whole structure.
I get that. True. And unless that overhaul happens, the draft will always be viewed as a gamble rather than a guaranteed solution.
Exactly. And that gamble in a high-stakes league isn't something you can just afford to lose.
Absolutely. No doubt about that. Well, here's to hoping that the decisions made in the front office reflect this understanding, because the impending draft is far from just a numbers game. It's a crossroads for the team's future.
Right on. And that's the crux of it. Without a clear identity and a comprehensive game plan, even the best draft picks might not be enough to turn things around.
Yeah, exactly. So as we wrap up our conversation, it's clear that while the draft offers some opportunity, it's the long-term strategy that's going to define whether the Cowboys bounce back or continue to struggle with these issues.
Precisely. And for the fans and the media alike, it's a wake-up call. It's time to look beyond the hype of draft picks and demand a real plan for building a defense that works.
Right. Couldn't agree more. Thanks for this deep dive. There's a lot to think about, and it just shows that sometimes the narrative needs to be challenged before we can truly understand the bigger picture.
Absolutely, and it's these conversations that keep the spirit of analysis alive. Here's hoping the Cowboys figure out the blueprint soon because, well, they really can't afford to get it wrong this time.
Yep, exactly. At the end of the day, this is what it comes down to. We can talk about the draft all we want, We can hype up prospects, break down scenarios, and convince ourselves help is on the way. But none of that matters if this team keeps missing on the decisions that actually count. Because right now, the Cowboys aren't a finished product. And if they don't get this right, this draft, this direction, this identity, we're going to be sitting here having the exact same conversation next year. So this isn't about hope. This is about accountability. Thanks for watching Good Morning America's Team. Shout out to America's Team Network and Clem Dynasty Productions for making this all possible. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And let us know, do you trust this front office to get it right?
It's go time. It's go time. It's go time. We going up like Coach Prime. Like Coach Prime. Like Coach Prime.